This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth with breaking news. Justin Trudeau is in Paris, France today at the Christchurch Call to Action meeting, and he has just made an announcement in the wake of this meeting that Canada is going to be launching a digital charter to combat online hate speech. And not only that, he's going to be going after the major companies that apparently don't comply. This just out from CBC. Trudeau warns of meaningful financial consequences for social media giants that don't combat hate speech. A new digital charter will dictate how the country will combat hate speech, misinformation, and online electoral interference in Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told a technology conference in Paris on Thursday. Trudeau made the announcement at the Viva Tech Conference, an international summit that brings together startups and technology leaders. The announcement was short on details, which Trudeau says will be revealed in various announcements over the coming weeks, but he warned there will be hefty penalties for social media companies that don't clamp down. The platforms are failing their users and they're failing our citizens, he said. They have to step up in a major way to counter disinformation, and if they don't, we will hold them to account and there will be meaningful financial consequences. So what exactly does he want these companies to do, and what are these companies planning on doing? Well, here's a statement officially released by Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter. This is a joint statement in support of the Christchurch call. It says the terrorist attacks in Christchurch, New Zealand in March were a horrifying tragedy. And so it is right that we come together, resolute in our commitment, to ensure we are doing all we can to fight the hatred and extremism that led to terrorist violence. Now, what do they say about how they're going to deal with what led to it? Well, this is where it gets troubling for me, guys. It says here, combating hate and bigotry. We commit to working collaboratively across industry to attack the root causes of extremism and hate online. You see what we're getting at here? Hatred and bigotry is the root causes here of hatred online, and that's what they're going to be going after here, guys. This isn't looking good. This includes providing greater support for relevant research with an emphasis on the impact of online hate on online discrimination and violence, and supporting capacity and capability of NGOs working to challenge hate and promote pluralism and respect online. So this is not looking good for me, guys, when we know that they're looking for hatred and bigotry, apparently, working with Facebook to combat so-called online extremism. Well, you guys may recall that I was just kicked off of Facebook not long ago, just in October of last year. My Press for Truth page was removed from the site. 350,000 followers just vanished in the blink of an eye, because they didn't like my ideology, they didn't like my political opinion. And now you got guys like Paul Joseph Watson and people like Laura Loomer and, McInnes and Yiannopoulos and all these sorts of guys who are falling left, right, and center as these tech companies are showing what they think is extremist content. And they're starting to just clamp down on conservative voices that go against the status quo. That's what this is all about. I think maybe that's why the United States also said they're not going to be signing on to this thing. You may have seen this. U.S. says it will not join the Christchurch call against online terror. The White House said on Wednesday it supported the Christchurch call's aims, but it's not in a position to join, citing the need for freedom of speech. And, I got to give it to him. President Trump makes a good point with that one. And on the same day of this, he went ahead and did this. The White House launches a tool to report censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So he's not joining in with their ridiculous propaganda. He launched his own tool to help counter this stuff, which is it's funny. It's entertaining. On Wednesday, the White House launched a new tool for people to use if they feel they've been wrongfully censored, banned, or suspended on social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. And it's currently only available for Americans. So although it's just kind of funny, it's probably not going to lead to anything, but perhaps it is a step in the right direction because Canada is clearly going completely the wrong way. You may recall this that I put out not long ago. The Canadian media has bailed out the mainstream media. The Canadian government bails out the media to the tune of $600 million. This is when Trudeau announced that he's going to be literally bailing out the mainstream media because he knows how to control a narrative, especially in the lead up to a federal election, folks. That's what this really comes down to. You'll see here, put this one out earlier on this year. This is not good. Trudeau announces plan to safeguard election from what? Fake news. He says Justin Trudeau, the Liberal government, is taking drastic measures to secure his fate as Prime Minister in this year's federal election by creating a task force to deal with so-called fake news while he's on the campaign trail. Guys, fast forward a few months, and he just announced the charter, the digital charter, which is going after voices like mine in the lead up to the federal election. Not only is he doing that, but we also have this just out from the post-millennial. Trudeau government is also going to release, quote, approved lists of newspapers and websites that they want you to look at. The Trudeau government is set to release what they call an A-list of newspapers and websites deemed reliable under a multi-million-dollar subsidy program. This list will be determined by federal agencies. Senator Raynell Andrichuk of Saskatchewan pointed out that selection committees appointed by government means we're intruding on the freedom of the press here. This is a very concerning development. If the federal government begins to declare which newspapers and websites are considered reliable, then how could any normal Canadian trust such a list? From Katie Telford, Chief of Staff to Prime Minister Trudeau, suggesting that she could score Jody Wilson-Raybould positive op-eds and positive coverage in newspapers if she complied with the PMO's wishes on SNC-Lavalin, to Ralph Goodale, the Public Safety Minister, wishing to monitor and censor your social media. It is clear that the Trudeau government cannot be trusted with our media. And that, folks, is the bottom line. He simply cannot be trusted with our media. As I've shown you, he's already in the lead up to a federal election trying to silence conservative voices. He's already bailed out the mainstream media to the tune of $600 million. Now we see he's going to be putting out this list of so-called approved websites and newspapers where you can get your hardcore propaganda from. It's just brutal. And, it's possible he does feel his reign coming to an end and he's just going to try to secure his legacy before he goes. Let's not forget that the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms that was introduced in the 80s was done so under Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. It was his dad that brought in the Charter of Rights, and now Justin wants to bring in the digital charter. Why? Because he wants to control the narrative moving forwards to the next election. He wants to be able to silence critics of his government online, and he wants to stop the free flow of information from being able to spread. This isn't about stopping violent extremism, guys. This is a Trojan horse. This is a tricky way the Trudeau government has figured out how to silence conservative voices and to instill serious censorship online and to fight free speech. That's what it's about, guys. So I wanted to bring this one to your attention today. Please share this one. Let everybody know that this is going on. The Trudeau government is effectively silencing the mainstream, the independent press, and they're propping up the mainstream while they do these backdoor deals and bailouts. You better believe I didn't see a penny of that money, nor would I want any of it. They can keep their dirty, bloody government stolen money. So, on that note, guys, I do want to remind you the utter importance now of moving on to these decentralized blockchain-based platforms. If you go to the description of every one of my videos, you will see there where you can donate if you want to support us financially. But you can also join as a Patreon here, Subscribe Star. But if you scroll around, In the description of every video, you'll see where you can join me. Still says Facebook, but I should remove that because I'm no longer there. But you can get me on Instagram, Twitter, Steemit, DTube, Minds, BitChute, BitTube, Gab, PocketNet, DLive, and there's going to be more. I'm diversifying my video sharing platform portfolio for a reason, guys, because this guy is coming after me. He already took out Alex Jones and the internet tech companies, along with big governments, are clamping down on conservative voices. They've done it in the United States. They've done it here. And it's going to continue under this new digital charter. So please click the thumbs up button, guys. Share this one. Let people know this is indeed happening. And we're going to continue to track this as it develops. As he said, he hasn't really gotten into the nitty-gritty of the details just yet. But my initial reaction is it's not looking good for free speech online. So once again, share this video if you found the information to be useful. And thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth.